Hey guys, it's Katie at scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and today marks week 2 of the She's Crafty mini paper pad class, where we are taking the remnants of some mini paper pads and a sketch, and we are making a layout using our stash. So here is the kit that I actually made up a couple of weeks ago, and I will link that YouTube video down below if you want to see me make those kits and kind of put a big dent, well, let's be honest, a little dent into my stash. So I'm going to use this purple paper, go ahead and cut that zip strip off, and then pull out some of my embellishments as well as that paper pad, and then start cutting apart these little 3x4 cards. So the sketch that you see in the top left, that's the sketch that we will be using this week. Now we do have a Facebook group and I will post that down below. So if you are not a YouTube person, you can upload your photo, your finished product project in that Facebook group and then see everybody else's as well, because there's a lot of people playing along. I think we have 800 and something members. And so it's not only us that are playing along on YouTube and Instagram, but we do have a lot of people that are wanting to use these sketches as well as their mini paper pads and go ahead and put a big dent in their supply. So these are photos of my daughter. Now I have 3 photos. I ended up using only 2. And this was kind of a dry run on her school photos. So she wanted her hair curly, and she does have the predisposition to have curly hair. That usually just doesn't happen with our kids until later. So she has a little bit of wave in her hair, but she really wanted it curly. So after her bath one night, I braided it up. And then this is the result of taking those braids out. And so she got ready for her school picture and she wanted me to take photos of her before she left, which is always a good thing because you never know with school pictures what time of the day those are going to be, if the hair and the clothes are still going to be clean. I know with my boys, I always worried about the clothes being clean. So I do at least have these photos of her. And then, of course, I have the actual photos that I purchased. And then I will do a layout, probably facing this one, of the professional photos. But the paper pad I'm using, it's really meant to be birthday, but it has a lot of the princess and follow your dream type sentiments, which for a little girl in this world, I think it's very important that we encourage little girls to follow their dreams, not to be silenced by media, by stereotypes, anything like that. So that's why I chose these photos for this paper pad. So to line this flowery part up across my 12 by 12 layout, I did have to pull out my Versamat because this paper pad I'm using actually is a 6 by 8. So I definitely had to cut those apart, which if you are a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, don't be worried about the 6 by 6 or the 6 by 8 paper pads. If you follow me, I don't use 6 by 6 or 6 by 8 paper pads. In fact, a couple of these I had to actually go purchase to play along, but I don't mind. I was scared at first because, I just don't scrapbook that style. I make cards, but not a whole lot. But then I realized I can just cut them apart and they can be hidden by other elements on the layout. So you saw that I backed those photos with my foam just to kind of pop them up, and I only adhered a little bit of adhesive so I could start tucking things, elements, that little bracket, I could start tucking those behind the photos, and then I will glue those photos down a little bit more secure later on. So I am trying to find some of my embellishments that I pulled out and try to make those work. And it just didn't work right now. So right here, I'm just playing with more pieces of the paper. Now on this one, I am going to fussy cut this little sentiment out. And for the most part, that is going to be the title of my layout. Now you can see up at the top left, that is the sketch, and the title does go underneath those 2 photos. I'm just going to kind of put it, there's a lot of blank space in these 2 photos, so I kind of want to cut down on that blank space. So this little title that I've cut out is going to kind of go in between the 2 photos. Down at the bottom, it ends up. And then I'm going to play with these little buttons. Now, I love the buttons, but I didn't want just one on my layout. So those end up not being a go. I do end up pulling out some more buttons later, but again, I just end up not using those. So this word pattern paper, I am just going to cut out some because of all that blank space on the top of the photos. I definitely think something needs to go across there. So I just cut out one of each of the words and then made sure that I had one of each color. So I finally decided on 3 of the words going down at the bottom left, and I'm going to put those all the way flush to that left side, and then I'm going to end up stitching on my layout. So make sure you hang around and see that. That comes much later. And then I'm going to pull out some thread and do some thread jumbles underneath that top right photo, and then adhere those little words down. So they're on the photo, but also coming off the photo. And I just glue my thread jumbles down with liquid adhesive. It seems to work. You could also use tape adhesive or glue dots. So you can see that my camera kind of stops. So I do have a thread jumble at the top right and then underneath this little pennant that I fussy cut out. And then I end up putting a thread jumble another place because I'm just that power of 3. I just love 3s and 5s and all that. So you see here that I pulled out some more of those buttons, but I just can't make it work. So I'm going to add some journaling lines down here just with my T-ruler and a gray journaling pen. And then I still think something needs to be done at the top left. So I'm going to add that third thread jumble right there by that adorable sticker. And that actually is a label sticker. And then I just put it underneath my photo. And that is pretty much it. Here are some still shots of the layouts. You can see that for the most part, I did keep the integrity of the sketch except for the bottom portion where that extra photo and the title goes. Overall, I'm so glad I got to use up some of these old embellishments and old paper. I hope you'll play along. Check the links down below for the other girls that are playing along, as well as our Facebook group. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If you liked what you saw, I would love for you to leave me a comment and a thumbs up. And as always, I would love to have you subscribe and hit that little notification button so you'll be alerted the next time I post a craft